Hello, Suzanne Zinc from Dawn Vision's Hypnosis. Today, I'm going to speak about a topic that becomes all too true for a lot of folks who get into the world of providing therapy for other people. And it has to do with the idea that people just get bored of it. They don't want to listen to other people's sad stories anymore. They want to have a more positive oriented career. And so they move on. And what I have to say to you regarding that whole idea is that if you are not feeling like you want to do therapy anymore, by all means, move on. Because all that's going to happen is that you're going to be bored, or you may be getting depressed and frustrated because you feel stuck in a situation that you do not enjoy anymore. And there's really no reason for you to feel stuck. You have a lot of really transferable skills in terms of being able to listen to people really deeply and completely. You've learned how to do a lot of assessments of people, and there's just a whole lot of skills that you can transfer to other things. Not to mention the fact that there's a lot of other areas of psychology that you can go into, such as maybe getting into academia and teaching about it instead of actually providing therapy. You did a lot of practice, you learned a lot. Students need to know the realities of what they're getting into when they get into providing therapy, as an example. And you can also go into coaching. I know a lot of people who have left the medical world because they were fed up with the insurance companies' games, and they were sick of having people tell them what they could and could not do through the associations, etc. And when coaching became a really big thing, people left that and they're making $400 or $500 an hour. If you're an executive coach, you can make a lot of money helping executives. They have the disposable income. They need the feedback, and they will pay for it. Because sometimes, though they may have mentors or they might have coaches provided through their positions, like I worked with a CEO years ago who actually did have a business coach, an executive coach, provided to her through her company. But there were personal, private things she didn't want him to know anything about for really good reason. So instead, she hired me to do the work with her. And I didn't really consider it executive coaching, but that was practically what it was. Although I did teach her a lot of neurolinguistic programming ideas and notions in terms of how to better work with her employees, of which she had about 35,000 worldwide under her. So yeah, there were a lot to deal with, and it worked out really, really well, and she was willing to pay whatever. So I want you to think more broadly about what other opportunities are out there for you so that you can make a decent living using the skills that you already have and do something that you actually find enjoyable. Now, you may find that maybe you just don't want to deal with anything psych anymore, and that's okay too. There's a whole world out there to explore. There's so many things you can do. Go back to school, get retrained. Go find some people who are teaching stuff online that you could get involved in, so maybe you can make an online income. Really, the world is open to you. You just have to be willing to do the investigation and figure out what you truly want to do. Because really, you don't have to be stuck in a job that you don't like anymore. And I can tell you this, when people are bored doing the things that they're doing, they get depressed. You don't want to go there. It's not a good place to be, as you know. You've worked with a lot of patients who came to you because they had depression, and maybe you've been through it yourself. No, you don't need to go there. So think outside the box. Do some informational interviews with people whose work seems interesting and find out what they like about it, what they don't like about it, how they got into it. And you can find yourself a new career. Why not? And you don't even have to stay living where you're living. I mean, 3.5 years ago, I decided to leave America. I left America to go to Israel for a master's program in peace and conflict management, where I learned the realities of what our country in the U.S. actually stands for. And I was not too happy with what I found out, quite frankly. Not to mention all the negative things that are happening in that country right now. And I haven't lived there in 3.5 years. I did fly across it when I went from Israel to the Dominican Republic to Mexico. And people were not happy. People were pretty much in everyone's face. And it was not a good situation at all. I had to take 3 planes And all of it pretty much sucked until I landed in Matsell, Mexico, and then everything was wonderful. And I'm not making that up. That's actually what happened. So I want you to think about what you need to do to make yourself happy and to create income in a way that works for you based on where you are in this life now. And if you need to make a change, make a change. People do it every day. It's not a big deal. Actually, think about it as an adventure, and then you may find yourself in a really cool place. If you're interested in doing coaching, I did actually have a PhD psychologist who came to me for my 2-day VIP training, where she learned how to use hypnotism and neurolinguistic programming in the work that she was doing, and she just became a coach. She's making over $400 for 45-minute calls from her home. Maybe that's something that you'd like to do too. I don't know. But if you're interested in learning about it, I'll leave my contact information down below in the description box. We can set up a time to have a video call so you can find out if that's something that you're interested in. You can do it in 2 days, Saturday, Sunday. And then I have a 12-month mentorship that I attach to it so that I can help you learn how to work with the folks that you're working with if you get stuck in some process that they need to get through and you don't know exactly how to go about doing it. And by the way, I've trained several neurolinguistic programming people who are trained by other people who didn't really get the results that they thought they were going to be able to get because they weren't trained very well. And it's probably because they didn't have mentorship, which is not something that any other trainers in hypnosis or NLP are actually doing these days, as far as I know. I was just really lucky at the time that I took my Master Prac in NLP and my practitioner in NLP that it was offered. And I did call Hawaii practically every week to find out how to do this work in the best way possible for my clients that I was seeing at that time. So that information will be down below for you. That's all I have for you for this one. As always, I thank you for spending your time with me. Till next time. Bye-bye, all.